A lot of philanthropy is corporate philanthropy that's thinking about how do they themselves become more efficient? How do they do pursue big ideas versus let a thousand flowers bloom? How do they engage their employees is something that I often hear in conversation that I think we have to be able to think about. I mean, I think it's easy for us to shift this and again say, where is philanthropy? And I try to, as a former organizer, think about what's enlightened self-interest here. And their self-interest, I think, is connecting to their employees who increasingly want to see as part of their work and as part of the company that they're identified with, meaningful philanthropy. So I think we can maybe use that as an opportunity. I think also philanthropy loves leverage. And so we have that as an opportunity, especially as we think about collaboration. So I think we have some attention here from folks. So now I think the burden shifts back to us, though, to think about what are the ideas and the creative ways we can go to them with solutions that recognize what they have to deliver, either to their corporations or if they're community foundations. How do we bring them together and give them something that's bigger so that the whole is bigger than the sum of its parts?
We need new structures. What's the largest charity in America today? How many people know? What is it? It's Fidelity Charitable. It is not the Ford Foundation. It is not the Gates Foundation. It is a holder of donor-advised funds that individuals can put money in a donor-advised fund, get a tax deduction immediately without any requirement that that money goes out. They can't use it for other purposes, but that money goes out. That's the largest charity in America today. So how do we access those resources? That's where the money's going. How do we create the structures that all four of the panelists have done to get access to capital that goes into places that's creating returns that are documented in a way that the people managing these funds know? And then how do we advocate on behalf of getting access to those sources of funds? There's a new book out, just released 2 weeks ago, about how basically billionaires are changing philanthropy in America. That's where all the new money is going. How do we get our stories to those people? Because they are changing the way philanthropy is being done. For all the strengths and challenges, and those of you who've raised money for many, many years, like I have, and everybody at this table knows, of institutional philanthropy, the landscape, as the landscape of so many other things, is being utterly transformed. So we need a new strategy for how we get those resources. And the good news about that, just building on what Paul just said, is that the level of innovation that's been required to get capital into Great Falls, Montana, or Jackson, Mississippi, is exactly the kind of innovation that is going to bring that kind of philanthropy to these communities.
Let me just mention that the election clearly has focused some attention in rural America. I do think that it's an opportunity to use that to shed light on rural America and what rural America is and what that dissatisfaction is. What we heard was these people feel overlooked, they feel dissed, they feel disrespected. And when I was reading all those things, I thought, yeah, that's what we've been saying for years. However, it is an opportunity to refocus attention, not just to philanthropy, but it ought not to be just an appeasement. It ought to be where we take the opportunity to really focus on the needs of rural America, not just because there's this electorate and somehow we've got to satisfy them and respond, but because there are real problems that we're exposed. Things like drug addiction, which I think is a big revelation to so many people. The level of drug addiction, the fact that so many majority white people are beginning to lose on the life expectancy levels, things that I think maybe would not have been as well known, or things that we need to use to go to funders, to philanthropy, and begin to address these problems. Because they are problems, not because we need to be responsive to an electorate and for no other reason at all.
Dee, I think I'm in complete agreement with everything they said. I'll just probably say it a little bit differently. And we shouldn't just focus on philanthropic capital. It's private capital, public capital, and philanthropic capital are all looking for return on investment. And it's not just a dollar return on investment. It's also a social impact and return on investment. And the moment is there's an increased focus on these markets, and we have created institutions, nonprofit institutions, and other systems around the country that can be elevated to deploy that capital and provide the kinds of returns that these three different big pockets of investors want to have. And it's a little bit of a marketing, it's a little bit of a communication strategy. It's about elevating what works already to talk to those sources of capital to bring them to these communities.